Are we recording?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Beardy Man.
Beardy man.
He's a British.
He's British.
He's British.
Nope, never heard it.
You've never... Okay, so... Hey, guys. Welcome to the Jody Mitic podcast, episode 15. All up in this bitch. Luke and I were just discussing some of our favorite beatboxers, and I know a good majority... Well, maybe not majority, but a good portion of you don't appreciate some of my musical tastes, but... Get your own podcast and talk about it.
There you go. Tough but fair.
Anyway, Beardy Man.
My name is Beardy Man. My name is
Wait, this is live. Oh, wait. This is all just with his mouth. It's crazy. He's singing and doing all the music.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
So I found him.
Into sound.
He's awesome.
So good.
So there's one where it's him and who's the other
And the guy from Police Academy. No? Remember that guy? What is it? Is it Winslow?
Yeah. No, so this is Flute Box and Beardy Man at Google in London. And so this guy plays the flute, and then Beardy Man does his beatbox. And I'm like unashamedly a huge fan of the hip hop culture. Like this is a guy on a flute.
So cool.
Sorry, I'm starting to get into it.
Yeah, so good.
How long is this? 18 minutes?
Perfect.
Strap in, folks.
We're going for a ride.
All right. I'll let you off the hook. If you want to see this, Google Nathan Flutebox Lee and Beardy Man at Google, and you can watch the full video there. Highly recommend it. Maybe we'll put a link on the podcast
Yeah, good idea.
page or whatever.
Yep.
Whatever. I'm gonna watch that later. How's it going, man?
That's going good. Doing well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go on.
Oh, nothing. Just feel good.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
You know what? I feel pretty good myself.
Feel pretty
Although this morning was a morning where I woke up and was just like,
Not feeling it.
It's weird. I go like 3 or 4 or 5 days where I'm just like up 5 o'clock, woo, off to the gym, got to work out, eat my food, and then like I have a day where it's just like
Spiral.
oh, the alarm goes off and I roll over and I'm like, I turn it off. Like this morning, Ayla comes in the room. My eight on Saturday. It's her birthday.
Right.
So excited. The house is already decorated. It's pretty funny, actually.
Awesome.
And she's like, Daddy, you're still here. You're supposed to be at the gym.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, today's my day off. Blah, blah, blah.
Listen, kid, I don't need it from you.
What are you, a cop?
Yeah.
I already got a wife. Yeah. So anyway,
Right on.
it's weird. I can't figure it out. I don't know what happens unless like my body's just like, that's it. We need a day to sleep in.
Yeah, well, I think with so much going on that like you're riding the wave, and then it's got to come down at some point, right?
Yeah. I wish I was more like Jocko that way though.
Right.
Just like in bed at 11, up at 4:30 every day.
Just stay the course.
Yeah. But he does nap, he says.
Good-
Maybe I just need more
A
naps.
good nap is hard to beat.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I think I was fighting something last week.
Right. Yeah.
So
That'll do it.
anyway. So yeah, this is Jody Mitic Podcast, episode 15. Thank you for tuning in. We love you guys. We have no sponsors once again, except for Greco Orleans here in Ottawa, one of the nicest gyms you could possibly think of going to if you want to get in shape and have your soul crushed only to be rebuilt again in a more beautiful form. Call up Luke. He manages Greco Orleans, and he will put you on the path to amazingness.
Yes.
Yes.
That sounds exactly right.
Is amazingness even a word?
It is right now. It is.
Hashtag made up word.
Yes. But it's a good one, though.
What do we got
It
here?
represents all things good.
Good. Jody 3.0 update, huh?
Yeah, what's going on with that? Tell me a tale.
It's actually, I was pretty impressed with myself on the weekend.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What
yeah.
happened?
Well,
Break it down.
I stayed at a hotel Saturday night
Right.
because I was at a fundraiser in Petawawa.
Okay.
And, like in my bathroom at home, we don't have a lot of mirrors.
Right.
Like we designed it for the wheelchair, and there's like a window over one of the sinks, and like nobody was smart enough in our design crew to figure out how to like give me a mirror. So I have like a little like one of those little round mirrors that you flip over to the magnifying side,
Right. Yep.
and then the other side is just a regular mirror.
Yep.
So that's what I use usually in the morning. And Alana has like a big mirror she used to have in the hallway at her old house.
Yeah.
Above her sink. It's not even mounted to the walls. No lights.
Right. Yeah.
It's actually pretty ridiculous when you think about how much money we spent on that bathroom. We didn't get a couple mirrors with lights.
Right. Yeah.
So most hotels
use
have
that.
the big mirrors,
Yeah.
right, with the lights that shine right on you. And I was like
Absolutely.
standing there, butt naked, and I was just kind of like,
Wait a minute.
I'm
Look at this.
actually looking pretty trim. Wow. And I got like a little infatuated with myself for
Yeah.
5 minutes.
For sure. Which was actually 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's be
Well,
honest.
I lost track of time,
Of
frankly.
course.
And I was worried, but now I'm thinking whatever Nick's doing, it's working.
Yeah. For sure.
And then also, so today we had city council,
Yep.
voted to do the environmental assessment for the truck tunnel we want to build downtown.
Okay. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Right on.
But I put on a suit. Like, remember how I said I bought a custom suit?
Yeah.
So I have one custom suit. One. So I got to order another one like right away. So I put on one of my old suits, which had been, dry cleaned.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, well, this suit isn't as big as that suit because I bought this suit at this time. Okay, so put it on. Looked like a little kid in his dad's suit.
Yeah.
Oh, Lana was laughing. Like, she's like, you have no ass. Ha, 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 ha. and like the jacket, I could have wrapped it around myself twice. I'm like, how fat was I?
What happened?
And everybody says it, like, you weren't fat. And I'm like, well, I was clearly much larger than the individual before you now.
Right. Yeah.
By my own standards, I was a tubby.
Okay. Yeah. But now you're going in the right
am I
direction.
fat shaming myself?
I think you might have. That's not good.
Do I need to apologize to myself for
Yeah.
offending myself?
Absolutely. You're going to need a written notice.
Should
for
I
that.
get like the social justice warriors on this on the tweeters?
Oh, I bet they already are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jody should apologize to Jody.
Yeah.
How dare you?
How
We
dare
are
you,
outraged. Outrage as Mitic and fat shames himself.
That's right.
That's fucking
That's
hilarious.
right. How dare you?
How dare you? Do you think social justice activism online is starting to peter out? I feel like it's reached its. Remember we were talking about this a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
I feel like the tide is going out. I feel like the wave is starting to break.
Well, I think that there's been so much of it that people are like, yeah, okay, we get it. We get it now. Just stop. It's getting
Well,
it's
no,
getting
but
out of
it's
hand.
getting
There's too much.
it's ridiculous.
There's too much. And
What they
people
call it the
just-
culture of outrage now.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, the addiction to outrage.
Yeah.
I was
course.
listening to the Sam Harris podcast, and he had on what do you call the people that study society?
Society ontologist? No, I don't
No,
know.
no.
I made that up.
It's a
I'm not
word
sure.
that we should both know, but neither of us are smart enough.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me look it up here on my iPhone 6 Plus. Oh, remember how I said I was getting an iPhone 7?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get the regular sized iPhone 7.
Okay. Tell me
Yeah,
why.
well, I'm just over the Plus.
Oh, yeah?
It's just really big.
Okay.
Yeah. It was cool. It was
Sure.
cool. It's cool, but I feel like I'd feel better if I had
You've had your fun. You no longer need a big screen TV in your pocket. And
I no longer need a tablet
right.
in my pocket.
You have to get all your jeans custom made to fit a bigger phone.
Yeah, my suit wasn't really made because I got skinnier. It was so I could Put my phone in the pocket.
Yeah, I got to carry this phone around. I'm going to need to reinforce these pockets and just widen them up 2 to 3 inches.
So if you don't know Sam Harris, oh no, this is the wrong podcast. Sam Harris, if you don't know who he is, he's a modern day philosopher and one of the who's it? What is that?
What do you mean?
What's all that noise?
Oh, there's still some people in here.
Don't they know what we're doing?
Yeah.
What are they? How dare they? How dare you let this happen? Don't you run this place?
What is going on?
Sorry. Oh, this guy's an economist. Anyway, it's episode number 42 of the Sam Harris podcast, Waking Up.
There we go.
And he speaks with, okay, let's see the description. In this episode of the Waking Up podcast, Sam Harris talks to economist Glenn C. Laurie about racism, police violence, the Black Lives Matter movement, and related topics. Now, the reason that this one's interesting is because Glenn C. Laurie, despite his name, is black.
Right.
He has the most unblack name I think I've ever heard.
Yes, agreed.
It'd be like Michael Smith.
Right.
And like a big black dude walks in the room. He'd be like, hey, didn't
Mike.
expect that. Yeah, so anyway, this guy, he's I think he's in his 60s. He lived through, or he was around for the civil rights movement in the 60s and stuff like that. And so it's interesting how they start the debate.
Right.
Like, they don't see eye to eye on everything, obviously, but this guy, Glenn C. Laurie, talks about the addiction to outrage.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to take a listen.
And I was listening to it, and I went, yeah.
For
Everything's
sure.
an outrage.
Yeah.
Everything. Outrage. And the media love it.
Yeah.
The media, they just love the word outrage.
Sunshine and rainbows don't get the clicks, right?
Well, no, but just the word outrage.
Okay, yeah.
Internet, like online outrage is the line on everything.
Yeah.
And it's usually like 4 or 5 people.
Yeah. Exactly. It doesn't take much now.
Well, like I said, I've been through it with stuff, and
That's right.
When I shot the shark in the face,
Yeah.
they internet outrage, and it was a furor. It was an internet furor was sparked by Mitic's Twitter post, and it's like it was like 6 people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But they were very angry.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, there was furor and outrage.
There was damn near.
But it wasn't like a tidal wave. And even if it was like it was for when I tweeted about my support for the cops,
right.
99% of the people didn't live in Ottawa.
Right.
And the ones that and then the rest, like, there's no name, picture, or real place.
Of course.
So it's basically like it's like nothing.
Yeah.
It's like hearing a voice
Doesn't count.
in your mind. What? Huh? What? Who's there? Who's there? That doesn't matter.
Yep.
Anyway, I think because my dad and I were talking today, and he was talking about how the right wing is starting to die,
Okay.
and because like conservatism,
Right.
and my counter to that is that it's conservatism isn't dying; the extreme right is. Just like I
Yes.
think the extreme left is.
Yeah.
I think people are just done with all the like outrage and the telling people what to do, because both sides, right? Even though the left is quote progressive unquote,
Right.
they're pretty regressive when it comes to individual rights.
Correct.
Like, oh, your freedom of speech has to be curtailed because you just hurt someone's feelings.
Yes.
What?
Huh?
You just offended that person, but I didn't say anything racist, sexist, or homophobic. Yeah, but you still hurt their feelings.
Yeah. Well,
They're uncomfortable with your viewpoint because it's not
Yeah.
exactly like ours.
yeah. Sorry about that, but
You
have to adjust.
Get the fuck out of here.
that sounds right.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
I hate that stuff.
Sir, that hurts my feelings.
Well, no, like I don't dismiss people's feelings. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I still care about people. I'm on team people. We've talked about this.
That's right.
I'm all about everyone being happy.
Just be awesome.
Just be awesome.
Yeah.
And don't tell me what to do, as
Yeah.
long as I'm not hurting anybody. But you can't. And what they talk about on the Sam Harris podcast too is the fact that these people use things like feelings and all that stuff to eliminate the ability to debate.
Right.
Because debate, neither side wants debate. So the far right and the far left are the same. The far left, though, creeped into basically the mainstream for a couple years there.
Yeah.
But now the pushback has begun.
There's
And
more
it's-
balance coming.
I really hope so.
Yeah.
Because it was getting it's fucking damn near ridiculous at this point.
Yep.
And I can't, as a politician, I have to be aware of it to a certain extent. But at the same time, I'm not going to govern my life because all these people online are going to get upset
Yeah.
over like a partial quote of something I might have said once.
That's right. That's right. It's going too far.
Well, it's like when we went through it, when the reporter wrote about us. And even other people, I've had people come up to me like, what was the point of that article? And I'm like, I have no idea.
Don't know.
Was he for you or against you? And I'm like, I don't know.
Muddy waters. Muddy waters.
Well, and then when we asked him to come on the show, and he's like, "Oh, I can't. My integrity as a reporter." All right, Dave. Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So, did I finish my update on Jody 3.0?
You
Anyway-
talked about the suit. The suit was way too big.
Oh, right. So my suit was way too big, but it's a good indicator of how I'm actually looking.
Yeah.
I can't believe how fat I was.
Right.
But I'm still pretty much the same weight. I might be like 7 pounds lighter overall,
Yeah.
but I'm like down. I'm probably like a 33 waist now.
Down from what?
I was like 233
Right.
pounds with my
Yeah.
legs on. I think I'm down to like 225,
Right on.
224.
Yeah.
But also like I've lost a good 4 or 5 inches off my waist.
Yeah. Significant.
And my shoulders are way. Well, you tell me they're wider than they were.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, my t-shirts
Yep.
are tighter again.
Definitely.
It's crazy.
It's awesome.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with myself right now, actually. But I still have 71 days to go. No,
That's
wait.
right.
Sorry.
Come on, handy countdown app.
It's 72.
72.
72. Oh,
Right
wait. Somebody's texting me. Podcasting. All right. So we updated Luke's life. You're good?
I'm good. I'm great.
How's Forrest?
He's awesome.
Do you want his name out on the radio?
Sure, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, your boy?
Yep.
Yeah. He's basically built like a baby bear.
Yes. True.
Like he's as big as a baby bear.
He is
And
a
he's
little
like,
baby bear.
is he a year yet?
He's almost 2 years.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
He's almost 2 years, but he's probably as big as my 5-year-old.
Getting close.
He's pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. The other day I walked into the kitchen and he was riding the dog. Like
Literally.
The dog was laying down and he had saddled up the dog and he was hanging on to his neck and he was literally riding the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Mine did that too.
Yeah.
They're too old. Like if we had another baby, like they're too old now, but
Right. Yeah.
but it's something. Eventually, kids go, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
I
this
fit
is,
here.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, what's a few things that's in the news?
Did you hear about those Samsung phones?
I did.
Stay away from those, sir.
Wow.
Be-
Why would I get a Samsung when I'm an iPhone guy?
No,
anyway?
for sure.
I pay for
I
iCloud. Why would I get a Samsung?
I have no reason to go near a Samsung.
Yeah.
But apparently the batteries are catching on fire.
Well, I saw that, and they've like it's not just the few you've heard about. Apparently, it's like dozens and dozens. Like it's hundreds. It's
Yikes.
hundreds of them. Like, because when I first heard about it, I was like, well, like a dozen doesn't seem like enough.
Right.
When you consider how many millions of them they
it's
probably made.
a tiny percent.
But it's hundreds
Yikes.
of them have like, but they all haven't been like huge like fires and explosions. They've some of them have just been like fizzled and like some have gotten just hot and melted the case a little bit and
right.
but the ones we're hearing about are the ones where it was like Chernobyl in people's like hotel rooms or whatever.
For sure. And it's enough for the airlines to freak out and say, do not use these phones. Like they don't want them turned on. They don't want them plugged in.
Could you imagine if
on a flight?
somebody had it in their carry-on up above your head and it caught on fire?
Yikes.
Or it's like the guy's asleep and it's in his jacket. He's like leaning on his jacket and it just like there's a big fire starts on the side of the plane. Oh, awesome. Cool.
No
cool.
bueno.
Thanks, Samsung.
Yeah.
Hashtag thanks, Samsung. Thanks, Obama.
Bummer, dude.
It's Obama's fault.
Yeah.
It
It would add people to the master death list, which I didn't know
There's a
existed,
master death list?
which sounds weird. There is in the States for sure. I read something along with this, and it was crazy that they were like profiling this lady, that there was a mistake. She was on the death list, and as if she had died, but she shouldn't have been there. And apparently there's at least 1,000 people mistakenly put on the death list every month.
Wait. What do you mean a master death list?
It's a list of all the people that have died
In the States?
Correct.
Or in the world?
No, this is for the States.
They have a No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
Is this a new thing?
No, this isn't new. I don't know how long it's been going on, but it's definitely not new.
Can we get on here?
Stats.
Can we check?
Probably. Like, I don't know if you can access the list right now. I don't know if we have the credentials.
What's the
for
purpose
that.
of this list?
Is to keep track of everybody. Like, they know like who's born and who dies, and they have all those numbers. Come on now, they know exactly what's going on. But people are mistakenly being put on this list through like a social insurance number, like one digit is wrong or things like that.
Yeah.
It's thousands of people per month, but it's like a 0.5% of like of all the people who are dying, because there's tons of people dying.
But that's still pretty high.
It's high.
0.5 of a percentage of all the people dying for error. That's pretty high.
Yeah. And this lady found out that she was on the death list,
And she just like started robbing banks and like shooting people. Just like went on like a
superhero
rampage,
vigilante type thing, right?
Yeah.
But what actually happened was
she did like change her identity.
No, but
I'm dead.
But she
Woo!
could have.
No more credit cards.
That's right. Well, she tried to pay for dinner with her credit card, and it said it was declined, right? Because they've canceled all her accounts because she's dead, right? Well,
that's how mastermind criminals are made.
See, that's what I'm saying. And so she was
superheroes.
She was then investigated for fraud. All of her accounts like frozen, and it was like 80,000 something in the bank. Like she was doing well, all these things, a great house, blah blah blah. Now she's living in a trailer in shambles in this huge battle because the social insurance number was wrong, and she got put on the death list when she wasn't
ruined her
dead.
life.
It's ruined her life. Oh my God. Oops. Sorry.
What?
Sorry about that. We put you on the list. Yeah.
And the government's like,
And it's like, like prove it. Well, I'm standing right here. How do we know it's you? Right?
Well, everyone in her life would know her.
Yeah. But she's having like all this trouble trying to pull her
Where's
life
the death
back together.
certificate then?
I don't know.
You need a death certificate to prove that you're dead.
It must exist, but they've put the wrong person on it.
So someone with the same name and a social insurance number that was
Close
one digit
enough.
off.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's totally possible. Eh?
Totally
That's like the
possible.
stories you hear about people getting in the wrong car and putting their key in and it works.
Right.
That used to happen with Chevy Novas all the time,
Weird.
apparently.
I remember with my dad's Suzuki, the Samurai, the famous Samurai.
The car you actually never had.
Right, says you.
Yeah.
That he could pull the key out of the ignition while it was driving, and it used to blow my mind because because it was a wee lad, and I was like, "What? I didn't know what the hell was going on."
My dad is magic.
Yeah, for sure, he was magic. That's real. But yeah, he could pull the key out of it, and I was like blown away that it would keep driving.
Yeah. When I was actually a kid, I used to, when we would stop for gas, I thought Dad was refilling the car with magic.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
I was like, oh, clearly you need magic. Like, I'm talking like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Like, because how else do cars...
You have to fill it up with like extra rainbows and stars. And
No, I just thought it was magic.
Yeah.
Because what else does it run on?
Doesn't make sense to have anything else. What else is going on?
Master death list.
Yeah, it's so weird, hey?
5.5% is a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. It's at least 1,000 a month.
So 1,000 people are having their lives ruined in the States.
Sorry about that. Yep.
I feel like that's enough for them to be like, we should probably fix this.
We
should have a process to
change
like
the process.
immediately fix this.
They said that they were actually working on changing it to like more of an automatic like an electronic system, because now it's somebody like handwriting out these numbers on forms. So like somebody's like sitting in a back
I
room
fig-
just
I
filling
figured-
out numbers all day.
I figured that that's what it was anyway. Like just like some guy paid minimum wage to sit there and type away.
Yeah, that's what's going on. He's not doing it right.
Speaking of typing, I was watching Narcos.
Okay, yes.
And the guy was using, because it's set in the 90s, right?
Right.
And so my daughter's watching it with me, and the guy's using a typewriter, and she goes, "Why is he using one of those old-timey computers?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Well, that's what computers used to look like, honey. They're called typewriters."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh,
Right.
interesting."
Moving
But no,
on.
well, because she's like, "Well, it's 2016. Why would you use a typewriter?" And I'm
Right.
like, "Well, the show is based in 1991 or whatever."
Right.
She's like, "Oh, when's that?" I'm like, it's a long time ago. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Go on.
So I was trying to cook and watch Narcos today,
Yeah.
and can't do it.
Why not?
Well, because there's a ton of subtitles,
Oh, right.
and I don't
The
speak
Espanol.
Spanish, right?
Right,
So
yes.
I have to like watch and read the subtitles for most of what's happening.
You need to get a translator. Is what you need.
Maybe Google Translation.
No. Just have someone come into the house, watch the
Oh
show
yeah.
for
So
you,
I should hire.
and-
Maybe I could hire a UN translator
Yeah.
for like what do they make? Like $200 an hour or something?
Yeah. Well, that sounds
Probably
right.
minimum.
Yeah.
Just come in whenever I'm watching Narcos.
Yeah. That's right. And they can give you the full breakdown if you happen to be
Right.
Busy.
That
sounds solid.
Right. I know. I figured out what puta means.
right.
Finally.
Oh, yeah?
I mean,
What is it?
well, whenever there's a certain swear word, they say puta. But like I've seen it for motherfucker. I've seen it for bitch. I've seen it actually. Motherfucker is supposed to be like the worst swear word ever.
Yeah.
You ever been watching a show on cable and they bleep out the mother but leave the fucker?
Yes, actually, yeah.
Yeah, weird,
yeah.
eh?
Yeah, that is weird.
And then what's the other one
But
that they replace it with? Is it sucker or something?
Probably.
Yeah, I was watching a show the other day and I realized that that's supposed to be motherfucker, but he's saying, yeah, they had some like random like word that like, man, what was it?
And it totally
Anyway,
loses its bite.
doesn't matter.
No.
If we get back in the news, it's going to be because I said the word motherfucker.
Yeah, 100%. But I feel like, do I need to get on this Narcos? I haven't seen it. Everyone's talking about it.
It's pretty good.
They're blowing me up.
It's pretty good.
Yeah?
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's the guy who plays Pablo.
Yeah.
He's actually Colombian. No, sorry, not Colombian. He's fuck. That's where it is. It's in Colombia. He's Brazilian.
Okay.
Because he's in a movie out of Brazil called is Elite Force? Elite Squad.
Okay. Right.
And it's about like these super paramilitary police that they have down in Brazil.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And I guess like Spanish speaking people, it drives them nuts because he has like a really thick Portuguese accent when he's speaking Spanish.
Right. And they're like, that's not right.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, that's not right. And like most of the Spanish that's being spoken is like not really that good.
Okay.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, like you think like a big show, like they're gonna
Well,
have
there's just
it
a lot
be,
of people who
like,
speak
super
Spanish that are
authentic.
good actors.
Well, yeah.
So I don't know,
Weird.
but they go with the people they can get at the location, right? So maybe it's filmed in Brazil or something.
True.
So you got a coach's corner.
Yeah. Another thing that I stumbled on, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Is about they've come out with the sugar industry that they found evidence paid Harvard. I think it was like what would be the equivalent of almost $50,000 today, to put out studies that give sugar a favorable light and denounce like cholesterol and fat in terms of which one of these things is causing heart disease. And this was in the 60s, 1964.
Wait a minute. So
Go on.
$50,000 and $64. The equivalent of $50,000.
No, they paid them like what would be $50,000 today.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, yes.
So back
Yes,
then
yes,
it was
yes.
probably like $12,000.
Right. Yeah, something like
That's
like that.
That's it.
And
that's what your integrity's worth to you, Harvard.
That's
Harvard.
what it takes. That's all it took.
$12,000.
Yeah, so to like find like bits and pieces.
50 grand is what it takes for an entire university. Well, hang on. Did they pay Harvard or just the guy who was writing the study?
It said paid Harvard scientists. So
50 grand each?
No, that is not what it said.
I feel like one guy got the 50 grand and was like, "Oh yeah, guys, he didn't have any money. Sorry."
If he's smart, he set up that deal for himself for sure.
Like, well, you see that in all the movies
yeah,
where the middleman gets asked like, "What's the deal worth?" and say it's worth $5 million. He goes, "Oh, it's only worth like $50,000."
yeah, it keeps breaking down as you go through the levels.
Yeah. So here's your half of 50,000, and then he keeps like $4.5 million to himself.
Yeah,
It'd be a lot more, but anyway, if you needed evidence that it's been a rigged game since the 50s, then welcome to planet Earth.
yeah. Everyone got duped.
Yeah, I'd say we got but not everybody. Like my mom was a sugar Nazi.
Right, yeah.
Like Rice Krispies and Corn Flakes were pretty much all the cereal I was allowed unless it was my birthday, because even today, a bowl of Rice Krispies only has like 3 grams of sugar.
Right, yep.
Whereas the kids' Honey Nut Cheerios or whatever they like to eat, that's like, I think it's 9 or 10.
Yeah, not up in here. Get out of here.
Yeah, but like 10 grams of sugar poured out on the table is massive amount.
Yeah.
And like you wouldn't just let your kid lick that up,
No.
but you pour it in their bowl with cereal.
You like hide it in amongst the oats and it's okay.
I don't get it. Like, and we all know what it does to people, right? And ever since, and you don't need like, there's an obesity epidemic, and now the American food guide has actually said cholesterol's not bad for you.
That's right.
Finally.
Yeah.
So, but where was I? Oh, Joe Rogan just did it with a guy. He didn't do it with a guy.
What?
Hey, whatever Joe Rogan does in the bedroom ain't my problem.
That's right.
But he had a guy on his podcast that talked about this.
Right.
And that guy was saying how even though it took like we started having this revolution in food in the 70s and 80s,
Yep.
they were the medical system or the studies or all that were being done in the 50s. So it took 30 years for this bogus stuff to make it into mainstream.
Right.
So he's saying that it'll probably, even because we have the internet, he figures it'll only take like 10 or 15 years, but it'll still take that amount of time for the fat and cholesterol is okay for you thing to make it into the mainstream, right? Even though like a bunch of us are paleo and Atkins and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But he said something really interesting that made me think about this. Because you know what? Actually, I think they talked about the same evidence that you did.
Okay.
But I was like,
probably.
I was half listening, like I was cleaning in the house or whatever I was doing.
Right.
So it was like, that's most of my podcasts I listen to in the background, right?
Yep.
And they said he was talking about how he said, so they did studies they did like a 12-year study of fish oil.
Right.
Or 4-year or something. And that was the other thing they talked about a lot, medical studies that are only like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, like everything will look favorable in 2 weeks. Like you could eat nothing but chocolate bars for 2 weeks and you'd probably have favorable results.
Right.
If you've tested the right things. But he's like, but test the long-term results of eating nothing but Snickers bars.
It's going to be a different story.
So anyway, he was saying how the favorable results for your heart and all that from fish oil only lasts for a certain amount of time, and then it actually starts to be negative.
Right. Okay.
And when you think about, and I was thinking about that because there's this thing, right, where you eat seasonally now, right? Eat locally, eat seasonally.
Yep.
And it makes sense because as hunter-gatherers, we wouldn't have had access to fish year-round.
That's right.
So it makes sense that if you get certain foods, that's why like blueberries, right? They only come into season at certain times. So when the black bears come out, all they do is want to eat blueberries.
Yeah, so good.
No. And same thing is, so if you were a settler or a native or whatever, probably when blueberries started to grow, because they don't grow all summer, do they?
No, I don't think so.
They mostly grow in the spring and in early summer.
Yep.
So like bears and probably hunter-gatherers probably gorged on them. And it's probably really, and basically it's a blueberry cleanse from the long winter of hibernation or eating dried and stocked foods.
Yep.
And so anyway, when I heard that, he was like, yeah, so if you take fish oil all the time, it starts to affect your system.
Right.
But then he said, oh, because they studied Inuit.
Yep.
And they said, oh, look, there's like before they started eating white man food, you couldn't find a fat Inuit.
Right.
And
Yeah.
all they ate was blubber.
Yeah.
So they said, well, that must be good for you. And then he's like talking about how they've done the genetic testing. And just like the people from the mountains of Bavaria or wherever, somewhere in Europe where they first started drinking milk,
Right.
the Inuit have the genetic modifications or mutations that allow them to thrive off whale blubber
Right.
and high amounts of fish oil, which makes sense because that was like their main food source.
Absolutely.
Was whale and seal blubber, right? So I was thinking, like, you know, it makes sense. Like, if say you buy a jar of fish oil, you shouldn't buy another one right away. And I've actually always felt better. Like, I've never been a guy to always do something.
Right.
Like, I'll do a supplement, and then when it runs out, I'll go months without taking it again, and I feel good.
Yeah.
And then I'll get it for a while, and I'll take it, and it makes sense. I wonder if that's just been my body naturally telling me, like, don't overdo it.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, because I'm not a big fish eater anyway.
Right.
But it makes sense. Like, so say if you're a hunter-gatherer and the salmon are running, of course you're just going to as much salmon as you can get down your yap. But then for the rest of the year, you don't get any.
Then they're gone. Yeah.
And so your
I like
body
that.
gets the benefits of it. And, and it thrives off that for the rest of the year.
Yep. I like that. And like you see it in like even just in like your food preference now. Like this is what it comes down to because we can get anything at any
Right.
time.
Yeah.
But like how many like great big platefuls of like raw salad are you inclined to eat in the middle of February, right? Like you want like hot, warm food, like more like stew type stuff and things
Yeah.
like that as opposed to cold vegetables. But on a hot day,
Yeah.
you're like, oh yeah, salad is good.
Yeah, well, because it makes sense with the climate.
That's
with
right.
the season.
That's right.
Yeah, and also the oh man, I lost my train of thought there. The use like the readily available foods year round have kind of like knocked our biological clocks off or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's throwing off my timing.
Yeah, well, because it's you're not supposed to have abundance of food at all times,
Yep.
right? And it makes sense. Like wherever your genetics come from, that's whatever staples are in those areas are what you thrive off.
Yeah.
So I'm convinced that wherever I was from, there was a steady, but maybe not constant availability of like deer or whatever,
Some sort of
some red meat.
four-legged beast.
some good decent red meat,
Yep.
potatoes, and like milk.
Yeah.
So definitely, and I'm part German and I'm part Serbian, and I have some British and Scottish in me. So I don't know, but
Yeah.
like as a kid, it was like for me meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
That was like I was fine.
The best.
I was good. So I definitely got like a high amount of Nordic genetics in me.
Right on.
Watch me like go. Have you seen that 23andMe thing where they like you can swab your own cheek?
Oh, yeah.
Watch
Yeah,
me like
I-
do that, and it's like I'm mostly like Vietnamese or something
Right,
with
yeah.
like one white guy somewhere back there in my
Right,
DNA.
yeah, for sure. I think you should
It's
do
like,
it.
oh, you should be eating nothing but fish and rice, and it's like, what?
But I don't want
But I don't even like fish. I'm cool with rice though.
That's right.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's so weird. They paid
Yeah.
$50,000 to fool the world.
That's right.
Best deal ever.
Yeah. Nailed it. Well done, sugar industry.
So I saw a good quote today though.
Tell
It said
me.
if we ask ourselves why is real food so expensive, we should really ask ourselves why is processed food so cheap?
Yeah.
Why is it so cheap?
I don't know. Maybe because I think a lot of it would probably have to do with like how durable it is, like how long it would last,
That's a
right?
good point.
And you probably don't have
Like how long it can sit
like,
on the shelf.
Yeah, and if you're like growing actual food, like how much time would have to go into like caring for it, and like this tree is only going to give you so many fruits so often, but if you're like growing them in like some artificial thing, you can do it every week, Where
Yeah, but that
like,
would still be real food if it's grown in an artificial greenhouse.
No, but like if it's grown with a bunch of crap that doesn't belong in there, right? Like accelerants to make it grow faster and preservatives to make it
No.
last
I
longer.
think processed food is like anything canned or boxed or packaged, right?
Right.
So I think it's because you can you dilute it to the point where, it's like real juice or 10% real juice or whatever the stupid. Ooh, 10%.
Yeah.
Or I guess. I don't know.
That sounds right.
But I think your thing, because then you can ship it further and more often, I guess, if it lasts longer.
That's
in
right.
a box or in a wrapper.
Yeah, like how long? Like if you cut an apple and you leave it on the counter, it's like minutes before it starts to go brown.
Yeah, my
right?
kids might eat it for a solid 2 hours.
Right. Yeah.
After that, it's like, it's too brown.
Yeah.
Cut a banana within like 15 minutes. They're like, I'm not eating that.
That's right. That's right.
I'm like, but it's just a little brown. They're like, well, you eat it. I'm like, I hate bananas. So I'm just like, I don't like bananas. I ain't eating that shit.
You damn well know I'm not going to eat that banana.
Don't you do this to me.
Yeah. Kids.
I'm your father, damn it.
They get you. That's how they get you.
They're too smart.
Yeah.
So it's been 40 minutes. Holy crap.
Yeah, man.
We said we were only going to do fan questions because we forgot to do them in episode 14, and we apologize. We still have the questions. Strap in.
Yes, we do.
Fan questions. Oh, wait. Oh, I almost bid on somebody else's
Yeah,
style.
for
If
sure.
you know that podcast, text us.
Yeah.
Or
For
not.
sure.
If you have my number, don't text me. First of all, how'd you get this number?
Yeah. Creeper.
Creepy
Jeez.
McCreeperston. Unless you're rich and you want to give me money, then go ahead and text Jody Mitic.
Yeah.
Text Jody Mitic.
Right now. Do that.
Do that.
So
No.
do you want to hit these questions now?
Let's do it, man, because I got to be honest. Like, remember when I first got here and I was like, I don't want a podcast.
Yeah.
And then I
and
got
I
all...
couldn't hear you right because your soother was in your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were playing a little violin.
Yeah.
Yeah, folks, I was a little demoralized when I arrived. Just been a long day.
But then you pulled it together.
Well, this has been like I didn't plan to do anything this month, and
Right.
this month is freaking crazy.
Yeah.
There's so much going on this month. It's blowing my mind, actually.
Party on.
Tomorrow I'm up at like 5, and I'm not going to be able to get to bed till probably after 10.
That's a good round.
And then Friday I got an MRI at 4:30 in the morning.
Beauty.
So they like mailed me. So I'll talk about this, then we'll do the questions. So I get a letter. Your doctor requested an MRI. I'm like, he did? And it was so long ago.
Right.
This is,
Yeah.
hey, if you're international, this is one of the failings of public medicine.
Yeah.
It was so long ago, I even forgot he had requested it.
Right.
Because I'm used to being in the Army, where if you need an MRI, like it's, okay, next week.
Yeah.
So anyway, this letter comes in, and it's like September 27th. I'm not in town September 27th. So I'm like, well, you could have checked with me before you picked a date. So I called him like, yeah, listen, I'm not going to be around on that date. And she says, well, if I can get you in on Friday, would you come in?
Right.
So now I know the secret. Always say you're unavailable for the day they choose.
Aha.
So then I go, well, what time would you have on Friday? And she gives me 2 times, and I'm like, well, I'm not available for the second time, but I'm available for the first time. And she's like, okay, 5 a.m. And I'm like, oh. And she's like, but you got to be here half an hour earlier. And I'm like, oh,
Why?
paperwork.
Yeah.
But
Awful.
anyway, whatever.
But like they
It's for my elbow. Remember how bad my elbows are?
Yeah, it used to be awful.
Well, they're still awesome, but I'm wearing the straps now, and so it helps. But
Yeah.
yeah, they're gonna check it out.
Right on.
Take a look.
See what's going on in there.
Yeah, I might get an MRI on my head too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the book from
Just
the
throw it in.
people in Texas,
2 for 1. Okay. Yeah.
and it's called "How to Make Your Brain Smarter."
Ooh.
So I'm gonna read that bad boy and get back to you on it.
Okay. Roger that.
All right, let's get into the tribe questions.
Tribe
We got to stop calling it
questions.
fan questions because that's somebody else's style.
But I don't think we actually ever call it fan questions except for you just did right now.
Did I?
Brother, you got to read that book fast.
I know.
Yeah.
You're right. My brain is kind of short-circuiting.
So we'll do the ones last week and some fresh ones that we have just come in. So our main man Josh here on Twitter, tell us a little about your first experience engaging the enemy from behind your sniper rifle.
Ooh. Well, full disclosure, if you haven't read my book, I actually never engaged anyone with a sniper rifle.
Roger that.
Well, no, that's not true, actually. I spotted for what at the time was, and still may be, I haven't heard, the longest range regular Army sniper kill
Okay.
at 1645 meters.
That's far.
It's pretty far. I engaged a couple guys with the 50 caliber at 3 kilometers.
Right.
Remember I talked about this? Just missed him, and just missing at that range is like 12 feet.
Right. Yeah.
My spotter's like, oh, you just missed him. And I'm like,
Just a hair.
hitting the bottom of the wall the guy is sitting on, like
Right.
12 feet to his right.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know what's happening. Like, it's so far away. Like, he's not even hearing it impact. Not much to say. It's the job, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
You line the guy up, you pull the trigger, and at that range, you just kind of hope for the best.
Right. Yep.
If we'd had more time, we probably would have been successful. But it was a fast engagement,
Okay.
so there wasn't time to really do all the dope into the scope and dial it in based on the conditions and all that stuff. Like the Green Berets were under contact, and we couldn't. There wasn't any other support coming just yet.
Right.
So we started to try and engage with the sniper rifle. But again, I think it was 3,000 or 3,200 meters.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty. Maybe it wasn't that far. It was way further than we had any real right to be shooting at someone at.
Right. Okay.
But whatever. Like again, if we'd been on target, we would have hit him. Like
Right.
It's not impossible.
And it seems like that would be pretty good for that range because obviously
Well, nobody's made a shot at that range.
Right. Yeah.
So like that was my spotter, who was my boss at the time,
Right.
was like, "Oh my God, we might break the record." All this, and I'm like, "I don't know, it's pretty far."
Yeah. Just gonna lob one in there.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have my earplugs in because we were in such a hurry. So the first round goes off, and like all the noise goes away,
Right.
and it's like, you know, he's like yelling corrections at me, and I'm like, I can't hear. I had like tinnitus in my right ear for like 3 years after.
I would say a 50 cal's got to be pretty loud.
It's basically like standing next to an explosion
Yeah.
going off
Yikes.
every time. But anyway, it was pretty good.
Okay.
And then, it's in the book. We engage a guy at 1645, and I think I've even talked about it on the podcast where some other guy came by and saw him dead and stole his camel.
Right. Yes,
pretty
that's right.
Yeah. So like,
Bummer.
you know, people, I'm pretty sure in one of our first episodes I talked about how the wannabe experts talk about how personal it is for snipers and blah blah blah.
Right.
And I don't know anybody that feels like that.
Okay.
That has a sniper kill.
Right.
But in the defense of the wannabe experts, sniper rifles now are much more powerful.
Right.
So we're able to sit a lot further away than they used to.
Right.
So there might be some truth to that old school stuff. But
Yeah, like-
I know guys that have kills at extreme close range as well, and our scopes are way better than anything that came pretty much right up until the early thousands.
Okay.
For a long time, sniper technology just didn't go anywhere because
Right.
there was no like call for it.
Okay.
And then we went from 10-time power scopes, literally like Marine Corps designed World Vietnam War scopes,
Right.
era
Yeah.
scopes, to brand new. You can adjust it from 4 power right up to like 22 power,
Yikes. Okay. Right on.
and like a much wider aperture, so it's like more light comes in and stuff.
Right.
So, so I know a guy who got a couple Taliban at like 200, so he would have been like able to like read their name tags
Right. Okay. Yeah.
with that scope, right?
Absolutely.
And it's like, but he's like, yeah, well, whatever. Like
It-
the training,
it is.
the type of mindset that goes into that job isn't necessarily the kind that freaks out about that kind of stuff.
Right.
It's exciting.
Yep.
Your heart rate definitely goes up because you're about to like shoot at an enemy, but there's no like remorse or anything.
Yeah. And I mean and like the training does that, right? Like you've done
The training does,
done
but also
tons of training for that.
yeah, we have, but also like I said, like the mindset that gets into sniping in the first place is a particular kind.
Mhm.
Like that's just science.
That makes sense.
I'm not sure what we are, but like it's my theory is we're like one 1 millimeter to this side of sociopath.
Okay. Yeah.
So where you have the ability to mentally disengage enough to not, take anything. Like that's how like I don't take getting blown up personally.
Right.
Right. And
Yep.
and so maybe I should. I don't know if it's healthy or not. Maybe it's just my mind like protecting itself from the trauma.
Okay. Yep.
But for me, I'm more fascinated that the dude thought to put a bomb there.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
just like, if he wasn't dead, it'd be totally worth like having a coffee with him, being like, hey man, why'd you put one there?
Yeah. Tell me
Yeah.
why.
And most of my sniper buddies that I know are the same. There's a few guys that that are a little freaked out by what happened, and then a few guys on the other end that like don't care about anything.
Yeah. Okay.
Like are actually probably sociopaths.
There's like a wide spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, yeah.
So this next question kind of goes with the first one a little bit. What's the maximum range your team was engaging targets effectively while you were on Roto, and what platform were you fellas using?
So the max range, like I said, was 1645 that we had success at, and it was the 338 Lapua Magnum in the Prairie Gun Works Timberwolf, which is a Macmillan style stock. And what was their action again? I forget what action. It's bolt action. I don't think anybody got, like I got a couple guys with my C8 at less than 100 meters. And then I don't think any of us got anyone with the semi-automatic 308. But I know guys that have got like using the 338 Magnum is what's breaking all the, like it broke the record that a Canadian held, and it was a British guy.
Right.
Yeah, like it's an amazing, it's I believe, now I could be wrong. Well, at the time though, it was designed, I believe, in the 70s by Lapua out of Finland. Is it Finland? Somewhere in the Nordic area. And it was designed specifically for snipers.
Okay.
It was the first like sniper round, instead of being like a hunting round that somebody modified for sniping.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and it's heavy and fast, and I've talked about it a lot on the podcast. So
That's right.
Go back and listen. It's fast, heavy. It'll destroy anyone's day that you might be aiming it at.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and we had Schmidt and Bender 4x16 scopes, 4x18. Man, my memory's bad about this. But anyway, we had I believe it's 4 power to 18 power scopes. And I think they've gone from that to 3.5 up to 20 to 22 power.
Right. Okay. Cool, man.
Because you remember talked about that you want the scope to outperform the gun.
Right.
And for a long time, we had scopes that kind of underperformed for the gun.
Weren't cutting it.
Yeah. Well, I believe the 50 cal originally came because at the time it was one of the best scopes you could get. And this is 99 when Canada bought them. The 50 cal sniper rifle we had, I believe, only came with a fixed power 16 power scope.
Right.
I believe. And then guys quickly figured out we need like a 25 or 20, 28 power. Yeah.
Right.
And once we got better scopes and better ammo, that thing started really reaching out.
Right on.
But anyway.
Cool, man.
Next question.
Scotty O'Rogue wants to know, what's your personal opinion on favorite or preferred off-the-rack bolt-action rifle? And he also would like to know about striker fire versus hammer fire. Some pros and cons, if you have a preference.
My preferred bolt action. I don't have one.
Okay.
Frankly, I used the modified Mauser action on the Canadian C3.
Right.
And we had the... Again, I can't remember what the Timberwolf action was. But the Timberwolf action was sweet. Never had an issue with it. The C3 one, which was an old rifle, so, brand new, I don't know, a brand new C3, which was they were bought in the 70s, may have been awesome.
Right, okay.
I don't know, I never got to use one. All my 308 bolt action rifles I fired were already old.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But I'm a big fan of gas powered marksmanship rifles.
Okay.
So like I'm getting a 5.56 like bolt or gas powered designated marksman rifle from Colt Canada.
Ooh.
Yeah. A heavy 5.56 can perform almost as good as 308.
Okay.
If you're a gun guy or ballistics guy, you might either be nodding in agreement or like screaming at the podcast.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
no, we can't.
How dare you?
Yeah, if you get a 75 grain 5.56, like so they like Colt Canada prefers Hornady.
Okay.
It's just an ammo manufacturer. I'll have to call him back. And what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I should turn my phone off when we're in here, eh? Maybe, or put it on. What you put it on? Do not disturb, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So I always have to call you twice in a row.
That's right. True.
But yeah, like it's fat, but it's fast. It's a fast round. So it what it lacks in weight, it makes up for in velocity. And it won't hit as hard, but it comes in with enough kinetic force that it can make up for a little bit of that.
Right on.
And it's just sweet having a semi-automatic platform, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah.
At the closer ranges, at the long range, like at the real long ranges, you got to use bolt action.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. Oh, striker fire versus hammer fire. So I used to be a big hammer fire guy, and so do you know what that means?
Yes.
Oh, what does it mean then?
The hammer fire, wouldn't that be like how your like what is striking to make the action happen? No?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the hammer strikes the firing pin strikes the bullet.
Yeah.
So the Glock and my pistol, the SIG 320, and then several other manufacturers have what's called striker fire, and that's no safety, no hammer.
Right. Okay.
So you just pull it out, pull the trigger.
Let her fly.
For combat and simplicity, I'm all striker fire now.
Okay.
I'm like big on that because you can get it in any so you can get a Glock in pretty much any caliber. So if you're a 45 ACP, if you're 357, SIG has a 357 SIG for pistol. 357 is a revolver round normally, right?
Right.
40 cal, 9mm, 10mm. You can get most of that in pistol rounds. So if you want something simple, easy to use, durable, Glock, SIG, you can't go wrong. Like there's Glocks out there that have like over 100,000 rounds for them.
Right.
From generation 1 in the 90s. And they're just like I've heard like guys replace the slide rails and
you can't stop.
Good to go.
Cool.
Maybe replace the barrel every 25,000 rounds or something, but the pistol itself is still fine.
Right.
But so back in the day though, it was a hammer. You need a safety. You gotta if the safety's not on, the hammer might fall. Right.
Yep.
Like so for the 45 that everybody knows, that like the iconic 1911.
Yep.
That's a hammer. Right. And it's single action only, so you have to cock the hammer to shoot it.
Right.
Right? So the SIG 226 though, which was a very very popular pistol with special ops and police for a while, it was a single action to double action trigger.
Okay.
So what that means is so double action means that you pull the trigger, and the hammer is pulled back and fired at the same time with the trigger.
Right.
Single action is where you cock the hammer, and then you pull the trigger, and so pulling the trigger is a single action. It fires the weapon.
Right.
Whereas double action is
it's going to pull it.
It's going to cock it and fire it.
Right.
Right. So the 226, which I have one, you load it, rack it, and then the hammer's back, and there's a decocking lever.
Okay.
So that puts the hammer forward, and that's your safety. So your safety is that the first round is double action.
Right.
So it's like instead of being like a 4 or 5 pound pull, it's like a 14 pound pull.
Right.
And I believe out of the box the SIG goes 14 for the first round, and then like 6 or 7 for the next round, maybe 5, depending.
Okay.
So the problem with that though is that if you pull it and and your first shot is critical, if you don't cock the hammer, you're using all that extra force.
Right.
So usually, if it's a quick movement and you don't have time to cock it, you just have time to pull the trigger. Your first round will be a little wild, and then your subsequent rounds, because it's single action now, are where you're actually
They'll
aiming.
be on point.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and a lot of people love the 226. In the Canadian Army, we still use the Browning High Power, which is designed by the same guy who designed the Colt 1911 Browning. And it's very similar in a lot of ways. So it has a hammer and a safety, and it's heavy, and it's all steel. And there's just pros and cons. But for me, like in the modern sense of the word, why would you use anything but a striker fire?
Okay. Right on.
A Glock 9mm, I think, out of the box is it's 19 round capacity for 9mm. You basically, if I take my mom to the range, I can have her shooting in less than 10 minutes. And that's including the safety brief.
That's awesome.
Hey, Mom, point this thing at the target and pull the trigger.
Let her happen.
It's simple, right?
Yeah.
So, you don't have to worry about. So what they used to do to counter the risk, so the risk of the gun going off, people wouldn't rack the first round. So they'd walk around with their pistol loaded,
Right.
but not ready.
Yeah.
So there's no round in the chamber. Well, now you got to pull it out, cock it, right? That's one less round, right, that you could have.
Right. Yep.
Because there's a lot of there's that, or for the 1911 they added a grip safety. So there was the main safety that you took off with your thumb, and then there was another one they added when enough guys shot their feet off,
Right.
where you have to grip the pistol grip, and that puts down the other safety.
Right. Okay.
So anyway, on the modern battlefield or in the modern self-defense situation, striker fire every time.
Right.
Unless you're like a complete consummate professional and you just insist on having a hammer fired 1911.
Yeah.
And as much, I have a 1911. I love it. Big ass, I talked about it on the podcast,
That's
right? It's a Springfield. Makes big ass holes in the paper. And man, can you tell when you go from shooting your 9mm,
Right.
pew, 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 and then you shoot your 45, the holes in the paper are just like way bigger.
Okay.
But, most guys, though, that stick to those are like competition shooters and are also like real pros with it.
Okay,
They train
yeah.
all the time. If you don't have that kind of time to train and you need the weapon for work, so most if you're a cop, 100% striker fire all day.
Right.
And nowadays in the Army, why you wouldn't buy a striker fire to replace anything else is beyond me. The simplicity for training is it's beyond deniability. Just you can't deny it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I was coming out of the Army. I was all like striker fire or not hammer fire, 1911 or Browning High Power, blah blah blah, or Beretta 92F, which the American Army still uses. And then I got in. My buddy had a Glock, and he gave it to me, and I was shooting. And I'm like, fucking Glock, baby. I'm shooting. I'm like,
water pistol.
this is really easy,
Right.
and it's really accurate,
It felt good.
and it's really smooth. Well, maybe. Anyway, so I've become a convert to striker fire.
Okay. Right on.
Long answer to a short question.
Yeah, that's all right though.
Carry on.
I'm sure it helped. Justin wants to know. He wants to get his firearm license. Wondering if you can suggest where to get the best bang for my buck. No pun intended. Is there a difference on where you're going to get a license?
No,
I didn't think so.
pretty much it's a standard fee across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it like that. That's all regulated, right? Like that's
In
not
Canada, it's federal.
Yeah.
So the federal government runs the program. You can get tested anywhere that sells. Usually, anywhere that sells guns is going to know who can test you to buy them. Because
Right.
you need your license to buy them.
That's right.
So they usually have a list of guys that they trust. And but once you do the test, though, someone at the federal firearms licensing office has to see your test and see the marks.
Right.
Like they don't just take the tester's word for it that you passed.
Right.
They actually have to see the physical test in their hands and then mark it, and then they'll send you the cards eventually.
That's right. I know.
It takes a while. It didn't take me. It took me 3 months total, but right now things are so backlogged that I think it's something like a 6-month waiting list right now.
Right.
Because there's only like 1 or 2 guys that sign these things.
Right.
Because we got a liberal government now, right? So they're not they don't really care.
They're not quick.
They're even well, actually, we were going to talk about this. They're talking about toughening the gun laws.
Right. Yeah. So what does that mean?
What's weak about them?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Who are we cracking down on here?
well, I don't know, man. It's a made up issue in Canada, frankly.
Right.
I'm gonna get punished at some point for being a gun owner.
Yeah.
Somehow. I don't know. They'll figure out some way to make it harder for me to be a law-abiding citizen.
Yeah. Bummer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not gonna affect criminals.
No, because they're not going through like a legitimate channel to have their guns anyway. Right?
They're not?
Huh?
I don't understand.
I'm sorry to. Okay, we're gonna have to break this down for you here. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, in the media lately has been pushing this. Like the CBC has had like 4 or 5 anti-gun articles in the last 2 weeks.
Right.
Whatever.
They're all over it.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Good old Ralph Goodale.
Fair enough. Let's see here. What else we got? Okay. Canadian Limey. He wants to know, do you think Canada now should be taking a more active role in the West with our allies, despite what the current government's views on pulling out and providing financial help instead?
That's not what our current government does.
Okay.
What's he talking about?
I don't know.
At the beginning, they pulled back the jets, but they doubled the number of special operators in the area. They actually they quadrupled the number of special ops in Iraq. And we're deploying peacekeeping force to Africa, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah, good luck peacekeeping in Mali or the Congo,
Yikes.
where everything's trying to kill you.
Right.
Right on.
Sounds like a tough gig.
Well, yeah, I don't it's hard for me. Everyone has their priorities, right? And the liberals tend to like to be part of UN stuff, and they like the word peacekeeper because Canadians are just wowed by this word that means nothing.
Right.
But it's popular and it sounds goody two shoes.
Yep.
But again, I will tell you the reason why we were good at peacekeeping is because we shot back.
Right.
And we didn't run away, and we took casualties, and we inflicted casualties. And so
Peacemaking.
Well, that's the other misconception about peacekeeping. Peacekeeping is there when the two sides have agreed to stop killing each other.
That's
for
right.
the most part.
I think you explained this
So
before. That's right.
yeah, so I think the first mission was in Egypt at the Suez Canal, and the Egyptians and the Israelis had said, "Well, we're not gonna fight anymore."
Yeah.
So then the UN force came in and got in between them, and just was kind of like tisk tisk.
Right.
You guys got to stop shooting, because often a ceasefire will be broken by a couple of privates on the front line shooting at each other,
Okay.
and then it just like morphs into a big battle.
Right.
Right? Because, they shot at us, well, we're going to shoot at them, and then they'll shoot at us, and it just kind of grows from there, right? And the guys on the front line, they're the grunts. They don't get what's happening at the Geneva peace talks or the Paris peace talks or whatever. And frankly, don't care.
Yeah.
Their buddy was killed yesterday, and they're going to go get some payback.
There you go.
Politics be damned.
Yeah.
And so, you need somebody there to just kind of keep them away from each other till cooler heads prevail.
Right.
But good luck doing that in Syria. Good luck doing that in Mali or the Congo, where they hate each other forever.
Yeah.
And it's at the point where we're not going to stop fighting unless you make us. So who's going to make them?
Yeah.
So anyway, I think I think our government, it's a noble pursuit.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to work out the way everybody thinks it will.
Okay. So. Well, we'll have to see how.
Hopefully it does, because
Yeah.
that means none of my friends will get killed or hurt.
That's right.
But if they do, they get killed or hurt doing what they love anyway. So
Yeah.
it's one consolation for us.
All right. Let's see what we got here next. You care to talk about your experience on Amazing Race Canada?
Rather not.
No, eh?
I
Over.
appreciate the person asking the question, but it's all there
Yeah.
to be watched.
It was a long time ago, too, eh?
Well, I mean, I
Kinda.
talk about a lot of things that were a long time ago. It's just it's basically a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I will tell you this. Everything you see on the show actually happened. There's
Right.
no scripting. There's no directing.
Yeah.
The only part that's a little bit fudgy
Mm-hmm.
is the part where they interview us before each show.
Okay.
Like where we're sitting together and we're answering, like we're saying things.
Yeah.
It's because they ask us questions and they'll ask you the same thing 10 different ways.
Right. Okay.
So they kind of get whichever answer they like best is what they put on the show.
Okay, and they can kind of piece that together.
Yeah, and like
as they
something
see
you
fit.
didn't even notice, they'll be like, well, how did it make you feel when this team did this? And you're like, they did that? And they're like, yeah. And then they'll tell you what happened. And then they go, so what does that make you feel? And you're like, oh, that's kind of douchey.
Right.
And they go, right? They got you.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Yeah,
said
yeah.
they were
So it's a
douchey.
little manufactured that way, just
Okay.
a little bit. But everything you see on the show is 100% what happens.
That's cool.
There's no like, oh, no, you guys wait here and then be really surprised when this
Yeah.
team runs by.
What?
No, there's none of that.
Okay, that's cool. Right on.
Whoever wins is actually who wins.
Right on. How do you deal with being burned out and losing all sense of motivation?
I cry,
Yeah.
suck my thumb, and ask for mommy.
Okay. Yep.
No, so I how do I deal with being burned out? Well, you know what? I kind of went through a little bit of burnout at the beginning of the year, frankly. I had been at the city politics job for a year. I was tired of people being in my ear trying to tell me how to act. I was actually kind of miserable. I was chasing my tail. You know, this bodybuilding show is a big part of me getting everything back in line.
Yeah.
And because burnout can come in many ways. So, you know what? I do my best to listen to my body and recognize because I know when I'm not doing what I think I should be doing.
Right.
So I pay attention to it. And when I feel like I need to rest, I try to rest. And like I'll can't like tonight, like I almost canceled recording the podcast. I'm like, you know what? I should probably just go home and go to bed.
Right. Yep.
Instead, we're at an hour and 12 minutes.
That's right. Powering through.
And if you know you're burning out or losing motivation, like that's enough for me personally to take steps to correct that.
Yeah.
So, you know, and sometimes it's daily, sometimes it's biannually that you have to do this. And so an affirmation is good,
Yeah.
you know, but we've talked about this. People
That's right.
want to go from one to like the extreme other way. So, I want to be like Jocko. I'm going to get up at 4:30 in the morning. Well, if you're used to getting up at 7:30, don't get up at 4:30.
That's right. It's going to be a bit of a
You
stretch.
have to make incremental change, right? We talked about, you know, even the continents only move a millimeter at a time.
Right.
So if you know that you're burning out and you know you're losing motivation, don't think if I can't get out of bed and just be motivated tomorrow morning, I'm a loser. Realize what's happening and just start to turn that ship. You know, it's not going to be an overnight success. It's not going to be like, you know, it's 1:00, I'm depressed. By 2:00, I'll be awesome.
Right. Yep.
You know, recognize that it's, you know, it's going to take a couple days and process it. That's the one thing I think most people do is they deny what they're actually feeling.
Right.
And if it doesn't change right away, then they're like, oh, well, this is just never going to go away.
Yeah.
Try and figure out what's bugging you. Did you get enough sleep? Did you maybe stop taking a vitamin? Did you stop eating something? Did your dog die? Did something like just, there might be something,
Yeah.
and then figure it out and process it. Like whenever I feel like I'm getting into the dumps, I find myself suddenly I'm watching a lot of stand-up comedy.
Okay.
I'm listening to slightly different kinds of music.
Right.
It was a big problem. Like when I went through the depression after I was wounded, and I found I would just drive around listening to comedy.
Right. Okay.
I would listen to comedy. I'd listen to the comedy channels on Sirius XM satellite. I was listening to the comedy podcasts. I was Lonely Island, that album there where they Lonely Island.
No.
Andy Samberg. The guys from Saturday Night Live.
Right. Okay.
That song, I Just Had Sex and all that stuff. That album came out, when was that? 2008 or 9? Or something like that?
Maybe even a little before. No, around there.
Yeah, because I was still driving. Right. I still had a Tahoe.
Right, okay.
Fuck, I love that thing. I might get another one day.
Do it.
Well, I love my Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah.
But the Tahoe was pretty dope.
Okay.
Anyway. I would just drive around listening to that, even though most of the music was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was.
What's that song, Jack Sparrow, that they do with...
I don't know it.
Michael Bolton. Oh, it's so... Did you watch the movie Popstar?
No.
Never Stopping?
No.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
All right.
It's actually it's really funny.
I have to check it out.
Yeah, you have to recognize what you are feeling and what your body is telling you. Now, as General Patton said, always have the mind be in control because the body will give up at any time. But, your body is still a pretty integral part of it's your meat wagon, right?
Yeah.
So, anyway, don't ignore how you're feeling, but don't expect drastic overnight change either.
Yep.
Give yourself a couple weeks to shift whichever way you want to go. And that's what I've learned the most. Because I can get out of my sleeping pattern in a weekend.
Right.
Because, maybe I'm out late or maybe I have an event and I don't get in bed till 1 or midnight or whatever. And then you sleep in a little bit. And then the next day you sleep in again. You wake up, watch cartoons with the kids. The next thing you know, you're going to bed at 11 instead of 9.
Yeah.
And then, well, shit, I still want to get up at 5. Well, now I know it's a couple of days to shift it back.
Yeah.
I'm not going to just get up at 5. I shift it. Okay, I'll get up instead of 9, I'll get up at 7:30.
Yeah.
And then I'll just keep shifting it left, right? And all same with your mood. If today, just you know what, actually, I do feel a little bit better today than I did yesterday.
Yeah.
But don't expect just a drastic change. Too many people go out and seek meds too.
Right.
There's 5-HTP. That's a good one.
Yep.
There's melatonin for sleeping, which helps you sleep. But again, you can't take these things forever.
Right.
Right? So if you're feeling a little bit blue, look for cognitive enhancers, which is a big one. Maybe one thing I did is I had my hormones checked. And it was my testosterone was I was basically a woman.
Yeah.
And so I went on TRT. Within 90 days, I was feeling like $1 million.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like he injected me and I was like, da, 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 like running through walls. Yeah. No, it took 90 days. And I even told him at 60 days, I was like, yeah, is this ever going to work? And he's like, just give it 30 more days.
Right. Okay.
And so it works awesome. And, like I said, I take certain supplements, but I don't take them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you got too much of something. Maybe not enough, right?
Yeah.
So, you gotta experiment and see what works for you. But the last thing you want to do is take pills from the doctor, in my opinion.
Right on. All right. Tina wants to know, how do you handle not losing your shit as a public political figure when you are trying to fight for the rights of veterans and their care when they come home?
That's a funny question. How do I not lose my shit when I'm trying to help veterans? I'm patient for the most part, and I realize our biggest, and this is why I got into politics, not enough veterans are in politics. Definitely not enough injured veterans are in politics. So, and just the Ontario Health Insurance Plan, OHIP, most of the people that write the policies around it aren't affected by the policies that they're writing.
Right.
Otherwise, it'd be a lot easier to get some things. But so anyway, I just realized that the government and the system is to help the whole and not the individual. And the whole, the average veteran is not like me.
Right. Yeah.
I'm the exception, actually. I'm a big, me and guys like me that have had 1 or 2 or even 3 limbs blown off. You can count on one hand how many, you can count on less than one hand how many Canadians lost 3 limbs in the war in Afghanistan.
Okay. Right.
Good luck figuring out policy for those guys.
Yeah.
That actually is effective for all their needs.
Yeah.
There's a couple dozen guys like me that lost 2 feet
Right.
or 2 legs. That's not a very big percentage of the veterans population.
No kidding.
Right? So don't get me wrong, I have a decent job, I have good friends, I got kids, all that stuff. Something that a lot of veterans lack, frankly. A lot of them aren't necessarily success. I got lucky, my joke is like all good soldiers, I have 3 ex-fiancées and a dozen ex-girlfriends sacrificed to the job.
Right.
Which is a joke, but it's true. But I got lucky, right? After I got wounded, I managed to find, someone, have a couple kids, and, despite whatever else happens in life, we got that.
Yep.
And that helped me stay grounded. And, but the biggest part of not losing my shit is the fact that I feel like me and the others that can do it can't lose our shit, because then who's going to be the one fighting for veterans' rights?
That's right.
Right?
Yep.
A lot of my buddies just don't have the ability to do it. They can't do it.
Yeah.
Soldiers, we're great at enforcing democracy, but we're not the best at exercising it.
Okay, yeah.
And because we don't live in a democracy, right? We live in a basically a totalitarian. Why can't I speak English? Anyway, we don't live in a, soldiers don't live in a democracy.
Right.
So, my joke too is my problem solving skills had to evolve from destroy.
Right.
What's
Yes.
what's this problem in front of me? I must destroy it.
Break you.
Oh, I know. I must negotiate.
Yes.
Oh, I must use words instead of bombs.
Right. Big difference.
So much less effective and satisfying.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just remembering that.
Just keeping you cool.
Well, it's remembering my place in the world is a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one guy. And, with a lot, not just veterans, but people that are in tough situations will say, you have no idea
Right.
what I go through. And it's like, yeah, you're right, actually. They don't have any idea. Your job, if you need their help, is to educate them.
Yeah.
And the more you yell at them, the less they're going to want to hear from you. So
For sure.
you have, you're the one who needs the help. You're the one that has issues or whatever your problems are that this person or this part of the system can help you with. You have to put on your patience cap.
Yeah.
And just grind your way through the process and hope that it gets resolved before anything worse happens.
Right.
The biggest problem is that and I did this early on in my injury, you tend to avoid, and you know what, I even do it a little bit now. There's a few things I should be doing with Veterans Affairs that I'm just like, I'm just too busy to bother with that.
Right. Okay.
But it's money out of my pocket, or it's a benefit that I could be cashing in on, or a modification of my car, my house that I could be getting to make my life a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And I'm just like people who won't take the time to go to the gym.
Right.
Oh, I don't have time to go to the gym for 4 hours a week. That's 4 hours a week. Well,
Yeah.
what else you doing, right? You'll fucking for sure watch TV for more than 4 hours a week.
Right. There you go.
So, we all do it. We all procrastinate on certain things.
Yeah.
But if you honestly 100% need the assistance that the system can provide, then you got to grind your way through it. And nobody's going to fight better for you than you are.
There you have it.
Because even your biggest advocate doesn't know what you're going through. You're right, 100%.
Right. Yep. For sure.
So,
Okay.
Any more questions?
Yeah.
Oh shit. All right.
There's 2 more.
Okay, good. Because
Two
I
more.
don't want to go further than an hour and a half.
You got it. Cheryl says, Jody, will you be writing another book? I just finished on flinching and was absolutely mesmerized by it.
What's her name?
Cheryl.
Cheryl, stay tuned.
Oh,
And that's all I'll say.
okay. Fair enough. I like that. Last one. Alan wants to know, will you consider federal politics?
Yes.
10-4.
We've talked about it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. 100%. Politics is like a lot of things in life. It's timing and circumstance.
Yep.
If the timing and circumstance favor me, then I will consider that at the time.
Okay.
You know, it's not 100%, but I'd be a big fat liar if I didn't say that I've, of course, thought about it.
Right. Okay.
Because you can't be in. It'd be like playing AAA baseball, and someone says, "You ever thought about going to the MLB?" Well, of course, you've thought about going to the MLB.
Right. Yeah.
You'd be a big liar. You
Yeah.
know, and in most countries, federal politics is the big show.
Right.
So municipal is considered minor leagues, but it's where you, like they say, you learn the most.
Okay.
And boy, do I believe it.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. We do so much at the municipal level, and we're so in contact with our constituents
Right.
that, you know, frankly, I think going to the federal level would be less work,
Okay.
like less hands-on work,
Right.
because your party kind of dictates a lot of what you can do.
Right.
Like the constituency work is still constituency work, but like if the party doesn't have a position on a certain thing, then neither do you.
Right.
But being me, I'm gonna have a position whether they like it or
Yeah,
not.
you've been known to have a couple
I've
positions.
been known to say whatever I want.
Yeah.
So that would be the other barrier, though, is would a party be willing to put up with my tendency to say what I think?
Right. Okay.
So we'll see.
I dig it.
Stay tuned.
That's a wrap on the old tribe questions.
Well, I want to thank you for coming in, my friend.
No, thank you.
Oh, no. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Thank Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome, everybody.
Thank you all for listening to the Jody Mitic Podcast, episode 15. We are keeping this bus rolling. We really want to bring in some guests. I got a guest for us. Oh, next week we're not doing a podcast, by the way.
Yes.
I'm going to be out of town. But we got a pretty cool couple guests coming up.
Excellent.
May have found a sponsor finally, or another
Neato.
real sponsor.
Neato.
Oh, I got to tell you something about something.
Oh.
Remind me.
Oh, yeah. And I have something to tell you, too.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So as soon as we sign off, let's talk about that
Yeah.
stuff. You guys are awesome. We love you guys. Our international listeners. We keep the info coming. If you got a question, ask us. We are at the Jody Mitic Podcast at gmail.com. We got, how many emails have we gotten now? 2?
Yeah.
So we've gotten 2 emails there. So keep them coming. We're the Jody Mitic Podcast on Twitter. We're the Jody Mitic Podcast on Instagram. We're the Jody Mitic Podcast on Facebook. And the Jody Mitic Podcast on Snapchat.
Yes, correct.
Google Plus
We're
is
holding
coming.
that place. Google Plus is there, but we're
What's
just,
our website?
We're just
oh wait, we
holding
don't have a
that place.
website.
It's not ready yet.
Our website's not ready. Website's coming shortly. I would say what, maybe 2 months
Yes,
at the most.
that sounds reasonable.
Mostly it's a money issue, and that we don't have any. We need a sponsor.
Give us money. Give us bagfuls of coins. Do
A lot
it
of
now.
podcasts do that
Do it
actually.
now. Yeah. Yeah.
Adam Carolla, I think Adam Carolla does that.
Right.
I think Mark Maron does that. I think even Sam Harris does that.
Oh yeah.
Who's the guy who does Extreme History? Or no, Hardcore History. Dan Carlin.
Dan Carlin. Yeah.
He does that.
Right.
Should we do that?
I don't know. Maybe we should.
Anyone listening, fire us off a Twitter or Facebook or an email or whatever. Carrier pigeon, smoke signal, arrow with a note tied around it, and let us know what you think.
That's right.
We really want to take it to the next level, but honestly, guys, it costs time and money. Time isn't an issue for us. Well, except we both have kids who always give me shit when I leave the house on every Wednesday night. Where are you going? When are you going to be back? Shut up, you little ankle biter. Got stuff to do. But again, we're in no rush. We'd rather keep bringing you quality versus quantity, and
That's right.
we know we'll get there eventually. This is only 15.
That's right.
15 ain't shit.
No.
Most successful podcasts are in the like hundreds.
This thing's still in diapers.
It's a little. It's not even. Still a tadpole.
That's right. Yes. Good point.
Yeah. Again, thanks for listening to Jody Mitic Podcast number 15. We love you guys. Luke, I love you.
I love you.
Aw, we out.